Right, great to see you again, and great to have Michelle here, who's going to let me show heathers and berries, which are absolutely beautiful, and they are going to make our eyes look ridiculously green, because they, you know, that's what they're there for. It's going to be a little bit more glamorous because she can take it, even though she's allegedly going to the dentist after this, but we'll see. Same fundamentals, the basics, the backbone things that you do. And the first thing you do is use a little bit of a concealer stick. And where we're going to use that is, again, just around the nose here, a tiny little bit on the front of the face, a little bit on the chin, and remembering that a lot of the issues that people have is with open pores. As we get older, this is something that just happens. It's like eyebrows growing in the wrong direction, or that wonderful hair that grows out of your chin just when you least expect that it's going to arrive. And this is when the cameramen, we lose them completely. But you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so drawing around again, bit like the...
When choosing a concealer stick, do you choose one the same colour as your skin type, or do you go lighter or darker?
With most people who are fair-skinned or white-skinned, I would say, I always go for the lightest one, so ivory. Okay. If you're Oriental or you Asian skin, then the darker one will be absolutely great for you. And women of colour, it's a completely different thing.
And what?
This one's ivory. It's the number one. Okay? And the same applies with any light reflecting concealer stick that you're using under your eyes. Always use the lightest one. And what you do is you put 5 dots, and the reason why you do 5 dots is because you don't want to put too much on. So when you actually are blending it in, which I'm just about to do now, you're using your fingertip, you're just pressing it on, because a lot of people, when they're using these wands, they feel that they need to paint it on, like just brush it on, which actually all you're doing there is putting far too much product on, which falls into the lines and defeats the object of what you're putting it on for, which is to highlight dark shadows so that you get rid of them. So again, tiny little bit, and we're just massaging that concealer stick over your lid. And again, just using your fingertip and tiny little pressing motions around your eyes. Don't ever pull your eyes. You can feel that that's actually dragging the skin, which actually can cause wrinkles and all the things that we don't want it to do.
No, we don't want wrinkles.
Also, we don't want the wrinkles. We can save the wrinkles. But also, you don't want to rub it off, because you're actually placing it on the place that you want it to be, which is to cover any dark shadows. Now the next thing we're going to do is use a foundation. Now I'm going just a shade darker than the last one that we used, which was more a kind of ivory shade for Sharon, because actually you have got, I don't know whether you've been abroad, but you've got more of an olive skin. So I think this one works quite well for that. Okay. But we're not using very much, again, once more with feeling, just a touch, and just pop it onto your fingertips. It is a cream, and but it actually goes on as a very soft foundation. You can see and feel it's not heavy, and that's key to everything. Once you start putting really heavy, dark
that's creams, when I tend to notice the wrinkles more.
Absolutely. And weirdly, it's quite right, Michelle, because a lot of the time when people they think that they're putting foundation on, I hate that word as well, like I said, it sounds like a construction site, but when they put foundation on, they think that people have been indoctrinated with all this kind of hype about using foundation to disguise and change the colour of your skin. It doesn't do any of that. It actually really enhances wrinkles, and more importantly, it can enhance open pores. So when we get the open pores, you haven't got many at all actually, but when you're pressing, just press the foundation onto your skin there, and as you're pressing it, it actually pushes the foundation so that it's actually going into the pores, and you're not using very much. And if you do get that extra amount of foundation on the top, then just use a few more finger strokes and just rub it off. The least amount of makeup or foundation that you can get away with is as much as you need to do. And don't put it around your eyes there. Just tiny little bits. Just really blending in that concealer stick. And you shouldn't feel, sorry, whacking your eye. You shouldn't feel as if you've got makeup on, to be honest. And remember, the least amount you can get away with, the better. And that's the reason why I like that, because you can judge how much you're going to use. If you're going to use liquid foundation, put it on the back of your hand and use it like as a palette. But obviously that's so much easier to use. Perfect. We're going to do Michelle's eyebrows. Now, thankfully, I have found one person in this whole place who we can talk about back in the day when we all plucked our eyebrows out. I blame Jackie magazine. You can blame something else because you're far younger than me. And it seemed to be the right thing to do at the time. Now, eyebrows are the biggest thing that people ask me about. So this is going to be the big kind of testing block to see how Michelle feels when I've done this. But with the eyebrow pencil test, which if you've got a book, you can go onto that page. The eyebrow should actually start there, all right? And where your eye looks straight ahead, that's where the arch should start, which is perfect. And this, from the end of Michelle's nose to the corner of the eye there, that's where the eyebrow should finish. Okay? So, what we're going to do, thankfully she's not going to look into the mirror until the end, so she won't see this bit at this point, but she will see it afterwards, is fill in this tiny gap there.
That feels quite soft, actually.
It really is soft. It's a really lovely pencil and it's perfect. It's kind of a mousy shade, so it works really quite well. And it's very soft, which actually works quite well to be able to do this. So you're actually just brushing tiny little strokes like that, and you're putting that eyebrow back in. Now, not many people know this, but Sophia Loren used to pluck all her eyebrows out and draw them back in this way to make them absolutely perfect shape. And that's a fact. So we're not doing anything unusual. It's been done for years. But immediately you can see we've got that complete shape back. And you can see the difference straight away. So we've got from there to a little bit more.
I think you always think that anyone above 40 can't do that.
I know.
It tends to be in the 20s, isn't
Absolutely.
it? Doing the eyebrows.
Shall we show her? I think we should.
Wow, that's a big difference, yeah.
Straight away.
Yeah. Big difference.
She didn't run out the door, so we're on a winner, girls. Right, so again, remembering the pencil test, so we're going from there, okay? Where the eye looks straight ahead, it's not hard. And then you go from the corner of the nose to the corner of the eye, and that's where the eyebrow should finish, okay? So again, we're going to just pop it back in, tiny little strokes, like that, join it up, and immediately all those years of plucking have gone. And tiny little strokes into there. And you can do this, girls, you really can. And we've immediately got that definition. This is the thing that I'm asked about so much of the time, and that is just with a pencil and a little bit of direction.
What's the other end for? Do we need to use
No, well, this is actually, it's funny you should ask that. If you were just going out and you didn't want to do the whole eye makeup thing, then you could just use that as a highlight underneath, and it works just as well as putting on an eyeshadow, if you like. But you just use it and it works as an immediate this is how you do it out the door type
I always
thing.
get a little bit confused when I see
I
two
know.
different
Well,
ones.
I
don't know
think
what
it
to
does
use.
need to be explained,
Yeah.
and this is the thing. So, what we're going to do first of all is just put a highlight, very, very soft, plain, kind of stone colour, no shimmer, just below the brow. It's the same colour that we used on the peaches and cream, but it just literally goes below the brow there. Okay? And again, we're going to pop a tiny bit. Now this is where, if she could see it, she would run out of the door. But we won't let her do that. We're going to use a little bit of this pink, which is bright pink. Well, you can see it, but you trust in me.
I would never
No,
choose that colour.
I know. Look down for me. And we're going to pop that just above the lashes there. Now again, just plonk it on, but it's important that it goes into the corner of the eye there and just above the lashes, okay? Open. And what we're going to do is actually use a darker colour into the centre to make that part of the eye sink back. But in the interim period, we're going to use a little bit of this dark plum, and open your eyes and look down. We're going to pop that. Now, if you've watched any of the other videos, you'll see that we need to take it from the outer edge of the eye in. Don't try and do it like that, because if you do, you'll get into a mess. You need to literally take it from the outer eye in, and then we need to get a little bit of the darker colour underneath those bottom lashes. So look up for me. If you just take it, we're not doing it right across. It's kind of an almond shape. So we're doing it from the outer edge there into there, all right? And most important is that you don't mess about with it. Just plonk the colour on and then you start blending. One of the most important things whenever you're doing eye makeup, especially as we get older, is this part of the eye needs to sink back. We kind of lose that definition as we get older, so it's important to do that, but to do it in a way that's very simple and that you don't actually notice. So we're going to use the taupe colour again. Now this is a flat matte taupe, really important to be getting the right colour there. And where we're going to put that, because we want this part of the eye to sink back so that that part of the eye comes forward, okay? So how we're going to do that is to just literally take that dark shadow, the taupe, into the centre of the eye there, and then punch it out to the side of the eye there, up to the brow. And this, again, where we've put Michelle's brows back, you can see that. Smoke and mirrors, girls, smoke and mirrors. Out to the side, and it lifts. Now this bit here actually lifts the eye up as well. Don't do it along, because that'll drag it down. So you need to actually lift it up like that. And then you literally touch those colours together. So you're actually touch blending the shadows. Just tidy up any little tiny bits and pieces that might have dropped, because sometimes they do. And for that, you also always need to have a little cotton bud at the ready. And just press and clean up. And there. Now look at the colour of our eyes straight away. It's amazing, isn't it? And you can see now that we've got this definition back in the eye. You look lovely.
Thank you, Jo.
I think at this point everybody gets all very kind of scared looking. Right, so
I think it is quite scary.
it is.
Over 40 to try and attempt.
To try something completely
Yeah.
different, exactly. And I think this is the issue most of the time, is when do you change? And
Yeah.
it's a big change, you know, it really is.
Yeah, what you wore in your 20s, you can't get away with
Well, I always say, if
in your 40s, 50s.
absolutely, if you haven't changed your makeup the last 10 years, then you're dating yourself straight
Yeah.
away, just even with the makeup that you're using. So again, we're just going to pop that pink. Open your eyes and look down, just above the lashes there. And this is more glamorous. If you wanted it to be softer, then you can just don't bother with the pink and just keep to the plum and use cream. But to be honest with you, why not? You know,
Yeah.
if I had your eyes, I would. And again, look down for me. Remember, if you're doing this, you can look down into a mirror. Try to keep your eye steady so that it's not flitting, you know, which does happen. Now, look up for me, and we're just going to pop those. God, immediately you can see your eyes have gone really, really strong green. Now, again, once more with feeling. I'm going to have to stop saying that. Into the centre, this is the key thing, and I know this is what will spook a lot of people. Into the centre, into the socket of the eye, and then press it and just straight out to the side, but going up to the brow. Just take the colour, just not down the side of the nose, but just continue it down so that it's literally just a shading rather than a definite colour. And then touch those shadows together like that with your brush. A good set of brushes is kind of key to all of this. Look down for me. And you can see straight away. And you can blend. Remember, the art of eye makeup is blending. So you can blend and blend and blend until you blend it off. But just try and keep the colours where you've put them and try and keep them quite definite as well. Like that. Beautiful. Right, we're going on to cheekbones, and you know how I get excited when I'm talking about cheekbones. So off we go. Next step.